to start right here with like a tutorial video, which is like I normally do not do, but I wanted to go ahead and make a tutorial on these hands that I have been creating for my custom Bionicle Mocs and whatnot. They are 5-fingered hands and they are fully posable, fully, what's it called? Yeah, fully posable hands and whatnot. So I wanted to go ahead and make a video talking about them because I've talked to a lot of people and they've been like, oh, they're just the Ziontryo custom wear hands, which they partially are, but they are connected with a ball socket, so you could connect it to any kind of normal general Bionicle kind of like hand, and it's 5 fingers, very expressive. You could add stuff onto it like I did here. There's just a lot of versatility with these hands, so I wanted to go ahead and make a video showing how I created these hands. So to create these custom hands, you will need 4 parts. You will need 2 Hero Factory normal CCBS Hero Factory hands, and then 2 Ziontryo custom wear hands. You just need a pair of them so you can make a pair of hands. Now, normally I get these from, like I said, Ziontro's custom wear store. Link in the description. Absolutely recommend that store. He is a great seller. I bought a ton of these hands from him, so much so that he threw in a ton of like defective ones. They were like slightly molded differently. I don't think, in all honesty, I couldn't tell the difference. But I got 5 free pairs of hands from him. Again, just absolutely recommend. Great seller, great custom parts. Go check out his store. Not sponsored or anything, but like this is where I get those hands from. They normally come on these sprues, so you take them apart and then you will go ahead and kind of get them into this looking thing. So you're going to take this hand and you're going to take that ball and you're going to go ahead. I'm going to do this a little off screen so I don't jack this up. All right, you're going to cut that off, but you want to get as smooth as possible. So go ahead and go back in with some other clippers, and there we go. Perfect. That's what I'm talking about. Clean cut off. There is no ball. No ball on this hand. So we're going to go set that aside. Do that for both hands. All right. So you got the hands prepared. You got them all set. You do that, and you go ahead and take off the ball. Another thing you could do, which I typically don't do because I am a forgetful person, some people have done and I recommend, is for the handpiece, this little clip right here, you're going to take like some sandpaper or just some sanding tool and get into that crevice right there to wherever you're taking out that corner. I'll go ahead and show it to you. All right, so you can kind of see what I did there, and that is just sand down that little bit of the hand to wherever there's a little lip in there. That's not comparing it to the other one. You see how it's just a solid kind of cut, and so that means the thumb can only go about that far forward. However, you sand that bit down, you snap in the thumb, and the thumb could have that extra little bit to wherever it looks a little bit more natural than the other thumb. You know what I'm saying? So you could kind of have that less of a like right angle. It's just it's a little more natural. Sometimes I do that on the hand, sometimes I forget. But yeah, that is one thing you go ahead and add an extra little bit of posability to your custom hand. All right, y'all, now here comes the tricky part. Hand Dremel. So be very careful with Dremels. In fact, I'm wearing glasses so that in case the evident that one of these pieces goes flying towards my head, I am safe. My eyes would be safe. Actually, don't quote me on that, but or anything really in this video. But basically, y'all, now we're gonna go ahead and take this hand. You're gonna secure it with something that's not your hand, because if the Dremel gets messed up, you don't want to cut your hand open, because that would be bad. So, all right, gang, let's Dremel. All right, so now I have finished cutting the CCBS hands. We got this, and here are the CCBS hands. So, as you can see, I went ahead and cut out. Let me go ahead and get another CCBS hand so you know for reference what the difference is. So, you kind of just cut off this whole little part, but you keep the back. You keep this back bit right there. You can see the kind of remains of the cuts here. But original CCBS hand, and then what you're modifying it to, it's modified to that. And if you go ahead and look, you could put a the hand right there, and you could yeah, glue that. But as you can kind of see, it's coming together. Yeah, you see the vision, see it there. All right, so now we're gonna glue these parts together. So what I'm gonna go ahead and start with is doing a line of hot glue here. I should probably get it in focus in the camera. Hot glue there, some hot glue here. I forgot to turn on the hot glue, so it's a little cold. It's still warming up, but just enough of hot glue there. And you go ahead and slot that in right there. Make sure it kind of lines up from the side as well, because that's the main thing. Make sure it lines up there and there. You want to take a second, let it kind of sit, not move it too much, because you just want that first hot glue to go ahead and set. You're going to do a lot of hot glue, and then I also recommend doing some super glue, but there you go. You kind of see it. It's kind of slotted in there. Just kind of get it exactly how you want. Okay. If there's a little super glue off to the side, you get, I typically just kind of wipe it off. A little excess. That's also something you could clean up after with later on in the process. But yeah, so that looks nice. That looks fine. Kind of just slight adjustments while the glue is setting, so you get the hand exactly how you want it in there. All right, there is his fingers. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into this crevice and kind of fill it in more. Just kind of any extra little bit I'm going in and adding while trying to wipe off any excess, but try and get all those kind of like that space in there filled with hot glue. And there is other ways you could do that. You could also go in with putty and whatnot. That is something that I have done on previous designs. But yeah, I'm trying to just make sure that that's filled in more, so less of a kind of like articulation aspect and more so, or I guess less of a looks aspect and more so just a like for kind of security. And that's another thing. This hole typically kind of go in and just do that, fill in all those little crevices with hot glue, and then I go ahead and go in and wipe all that off so that hot glue is stuck in there. And you could do several kind of layers of this, and then yeah. All right, and now here are your custom hands. Where's the other one? The other one's under the tripod. Custom hands. Whoa. So as you see, hot glue messed up a little, but that doesn't really matter that much, because the thing is with this, typically, even if they're like hands like this where it's like black hands and, you know, black gloves or whatever, I still go over it with some paint, and that's the next kind of process I would say. So I'm not that great with paint, but what I do use is this paint right here, Tester's acrylic paint. I've used this red for Smock, right, who has the hands. You could see that it's a CCBS hand in red, and that's why the colors kind of are a little different, but it doesn't. I think it's fine. But you could see I really did not do great on the gluing on that one, but I used this Tester's paint and I've moved it. I took photos with it, and this Tester's paint stays on. So I do Tester's paint, and that really kind of sticks to the hand. I also recommend priming things. That's something I'm gonna actually try with this pair of hands. However, I don't normally do that because I'm lazy. What I do use, however, is this matte Mr. Super Clear matte. I paint the hands, and then I go ahead and spray paint those to wherever it clears them, and it gives the matte finish as well as kind of just keeps the paint secure. So again, there's always little details you get better, and I bet that there's a better way to do this. I just wanted to go ahead and show the way I make these custom hands, because I've heard some people be like, oh, how do you connect them and whatnot, but yeah, this is it. CCBS hand and a Ziontryo hand combined. hot glue together. Super glue, you can super glue it if you want to secure, but I was kind of stress testing these off camera, and like, I guess there's a little wiggle in there, but it's fine. From my experience, the hot glue holds really well, as well as you could, let me go ahead and grab them. So these are some older hands that I did. The paint's kind of messed up because they weren't fully painted. They were for a different mock, but I went in and with some epoxy or sculpt, some epoxy putty, I went in there and just filled in the hands. So you could do that as well if you don't want to do the hot glue, and that will potentially make it kind of, you could make, you know, you kind of just use the epoxy putty to sculpt the hands and make it smoother if you want, if you're not happy with this kind of rougher look. But again, layers of paint can also help kind of smooth it out, as well as sanding, all the stuff. There's ways to make it look better if you really want to go in and kind of make it look pristine. But anyway, guys, these are the hands. So you know, use them, make them if you want to. If not, maybe you just saw like, oh my god, look at what this guy did to his Bionicle pieces. But I don't know, I think they came out good. Always happy to use them. The hands are super expressive. You could go in, you know, you could get them like this, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. You could make a fist. You could add more stuff on top of it, which I have done to kind of cover this area, make it a little bulkier. But yeah, so these are the 5-finger hand design. Check it out. Again, these are on Ziontryo Store, which I got them from. Absolutely love that store. Just modified them a bit to have the hands so they could work on any ball joint. Let me go ahead and get a CCBS ball joint. Oh. Boom, CCBS ball. Snap it on. Boom. Now your character can have expressions. 2, 3, 4. I think y'all get the point. These are the hand designs. Check them out. Use them if you want. If not, you know, thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day. If you do use these hand designs, tag me. I would love to see them. But if not, yeah, y'all just have a good day. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of this, and have a good one.